Mr. Anthony, do you have some more of your Let me call to order this special meeting of the West Palm Beach City Commission. Today is Monday, May 20th, and the time is 5:02 p.m. We will go around and see if any of the commissioners have any comments before we begin. President Ward?
No comment, just happy to be on a round two for the day.
Yes, we're very appreciative. Commissioner Lambert?
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Peduzzi?
No comments, Mayor.
And Commissioner Warren?
No comments, Mayor.
All right, well, we will get right into the business of the evening. First of all, thank you, commissioners, for coming here this evening. To those of you who don't know, this is not our normal meeting night, and we had a lengthy workshop agenda, so the commissioners are doing double duty. So we appreciate it, but they're very hardworking anyway. So, first item of business is proclaiming May 2024 as National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month, and I do have a proclamation. The National League of Cities was founded in 1924 in Lawrence, Kansas, as the American Municipal Association by state municipal leagues seeking more coordination and national representation as cities, towns, and villages expanded rapidly. The nonpartisan National League of Cities is the oldest and largest organization representing municipal governments throughout the United States, representing the interests of more than 19,000 cities, towns, and villages across the country. The National League of Cities works in partnership with 49 state municipal leagues across the country to strengthen local leadership, drive innovation, and influence the federal policies that impact local programs and operations. As the voice of cities, towns, and villages in Washington, D.C., the National League of Cities has successfully championed federal legislative solutions that support municipalities and has worked closely with Congress and the executive branch to educate policymakers on the realities of local implementation. The City of West Palm Beach is a proud member of the National League of Cities and has benefited from the organization's research, technical expertise, federal advocacy, and opportunities to learn from other local governments. Local governments are the bedrock of American democracy, providing 336 million residents with the most accountable, responsive, inclusive, ethical, and transparent government in the world. From the nation's smallest villages to its largest cities, America's local governments have been essential in transforming the United States of America into the greatest, most influential nation in world history. The city of West Palm Beach was first incorporated on November 5th, 1894, and is proudly served today by me, Mayor Keith A. James, the City Commission, and a municipal workforce of 1,770 dedicated public servants. Therefore, I, Keith A. James, Mayor of the City of West Palm Beach, do hereby proclaim May 2024 as National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. All right, so normally we would have the recipient of the proclamation say a few words, but Mr. Anthony will be addressing us later. We'll go to item 5.1, National League of Cities Centennial Roadshow, 100 Years, 100 Cities presentation. So let me just say that as mayor of this great city, it is my honor to welcome the National League of Cities to West Palm Beach. We are thrilled that the NLC selected West Palm Beach as one of the 100 cities that it will visit to highlight the city's unique character and history. For nearly 100 years, the National League of Cities has been dedicated to the strengthening and advancing of local governments. They have relentlessly advocated for and protected the interests of cities, towns, and villages by influencing federal policy, strengthening local leadership, and driving innovative solutions. In fact, the National League of Cities has impacted West Palm Beach in several important and meaningful ways. One, advocacy and policy influence and resource allocation and funding. A primary focus of NLC is federal advocacy, such as supporting the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. At tonight's meeting, we'll get a presentation on how we, the city, have utilized our ARPA funding. But for those who may not recall, ARPA distributed money directly to cities, no longer having to go through either the states or the counties, and that was, the NLC worked hard to advocate on behalf of cities to ensure that those ARPA funds would flow directly to towns and cities throughout the nation. Another way in which West Palm Beach has been positively affected by NLC is through training, leadership development, and knowledge sharing. The NLC consistently provides training programs for city officials and staffs. These programs promote innovative solutions, the sharing of ideas, and successful strategies and implementation of best practices. And the third way is that it's a resource for information gathering and sharing. The National League of Cities has been a valuable partner for West Palm Beach by serving as a resource for information gathering and sharing, advocating for our priority initiatives, and providing essential training and development opportunities for city officials. I've been invited to speak at various NLC panels and webinars, and in April 2022, I had the privilege of participating in a webinar titled "The Next American Migration: What Climate Change Means for the Future of Cities." National League of Cities is represented by Clarence Anthony. We thank you for what you do and all you do. And so now it is my distinct pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the National League of Cities Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director, Mr. Clarence Anthony, and someone who I am proud to call a friend. Mr. Anthony.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Commission. Being here today, this entire day has been a journey for me, being back home. I am from Palm Beach County and love Palm Beach County. I started my day in South Bay, Florida, where I was the mayor for 24 years, celebrating all the challenges as well as all the great things that has happened in a community that is pretty much extreme difference of West Palm Beach or Palm Beach. The Glades is probably your poorest part, is the poorest part of Palm Beach County. And now I stand here in West Palm Beach, who is really prospering under your leadership, the change, the innovation that you guys are implementing here, and the opportunity that you have to transform the lives. And I just celebrate Commissioner Peduzzi. I'm a resident of your district, still have a house out in Iron Horse, out west there, and still is a part of my network and my life. We've been able to come inward from west to Wellington, Royal Palm Beach, and have seen so much about what is happening in this county. But I have to tell you, my staff will tell you, and the mayor will tell you, I walked up to him in a meeting and I said, I want to come home. And he said, you better come home. That's how, y'all know the mayor, that's all I'll say. And he said, and we're going to be there waiting on you. The journey also involves your city administrator. We remember each other sharing a cubicle when we first started our career down there trying to help young people get jobs. And Faye, I'm proud of what you've done and your journey as well. Today, we celebrate 100 years of the National League of Cities. And your background material talks about the 1924, when it was founded. What it talked about more and what we were looking for at that time is very similar to what we're looking for now. And the whole concept of good governance. Politics is one thing, but good governance is something that a lot of us really, when we ran for office, we ran because we wanted to make our community better. But somehow governance is something that I learned at the Florida League of Cities. Our executive director from the Florida League of Cities here, and the president, Mayor Ross. And then I went on to the National League of Cities as an elected official. And my skills and knowledge about solutions developed and grew even more. And for 100 years, we've been doing that. And I will tell you, West Palm Beach, Mayor Warren has been active with us, attending our conference. Mayor James has been active.
I'm sorry,
Oh, Commissioner Warren? Ooh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I was just on a roll.
Right now, man.
I was just on a roll. Commissioner Warren has been there. I'm gonna have to pay for this later. I was about to say, Keith, I mean, Mr. Mayor, you know I'm there for you, yeah, as long as you know. So, but I will tell you, you all are active and have been active for years, and I hope that this, my attendance here, piques your interest to even get more engaged and learn and partner with us. Part of what I want to do today is to make a presentation to the city. And this is what my team, I started saying a poster, but they told me this was designed specifically for the National League of Cities celebrating our 100. And if you guys go down the street, there's this RV, because we're on a road show. Over 100 cities in America we're visiting, and West Palm Beach, my second home, is on that list because of you, because of my relationship with the mayor and others on this bias. But this recognizes 100 years of celebration and 100 years of service of NLC. And I want to leave this with you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
They come down and formally receive.
Yes, and I hope that one day I walk in here and it'll be on the wall somewhere in your office or somebody's office, along with my picture would be fine.
Maybe Mayor Warren can make that happen.
Ah! Come here, give me a hug. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What happened? Jeannie, come on.
You want that? Okay, all right. You want Jeannie?
Yeah, Jeannie, come on in. And Mayor Ross. All right. We're out. I know. Thank you. Thank you.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you all again, and appreciate you.
Thank you, Clarence, for all you do. Fun fact, when I first decided to run for city commission in 2010, I reached out to Clarence, and we had lunch at City Cellar, and we talked and chatted and explored my reasons for running. And right as we were concluding the lunch, he reaches into his pocket and he gets a checkbook, and he writes me my first campaign check. And he told me, and this is a lesson I never forgot, he said, you need to learn how to ask for money. Because I didn't know. I didn't know. So that's a lesson that stuck with me. So yes, I'm proud to say he was the very first person that contributed to my campaign. So thank you, Clarence. But I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge some other dignitaries in the room. Jeannie, who is the head, what is your title? Executive Director, President? Executive Director, CEO of the Florida League. And Jeannie, do you want to say a few words? We got Greg here, who is the current chairman of the board. Either or both of you are welcome to address us.
No, I just want to say I'm honored to be here and honored to be in front of all of you. This has been a great day with Clarence and watching him back in his hometown. This has been a very emotional day even, so I appreciate them allowing us to be here, and I hope all of you get involved in the Florida League of Cities as well as the National League of Cities. So, Mr. President?
When I heard that you were one of the 100 cities, I said, how can I not, as president of the Florida League of Cities, come here?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, absolutely. And we've had a long-term relationship, and I appreciate it. I appreciate what each and every one of you do up here. And as a foundation that we've taught you from the Florida League of Cities, you can now bring it to the National League of Cities. There you go. So enjoy. Thank you very much.
Kim, are you the current president of the Palm Beach County League? Past chair. Do you want to say something as well? No, you don't? I've never heard an elected official didn't want to get to the mic. Okay. But Kim Glass Castro is the immediate past chair of the Palm Beach County League. So we do also have, by the way, before I go on, next item, commissioners, do you have any comments? Commissioner Warren?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say how very proud I am of Clarence Anthony and the work that he does. It's amazing. And to be someone that is so revered by so many people across this nation, to be so highly regarded and respected, loved, you know, the way that you are, to touch so many people and have people really understand your sincerity and respect your leadership the way that they do. I don't know that I can really quantify what that means, because, I mean, rarely do you find someone that has that type of impact. So I just wanted to acknowledge that from me to you. I'm very grateful to have you as the leader of the National League of Cities, and I, too, am grateful to be able to regard you as a friend. Thank you, sir, for all that you do and for who you are.
Other commissioners wish to share anything? Okay, so we do have, as part of the program, an update on what I referred to earlier, the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. Just wanted to share with you, Clarence, what ARPA has done for our city, and again, acknowledge the fact that we received ARPA funds directly as a direct result of your lobbying on behalf of all cities to receive these monies directly, as opposed to having to obtain them from the county or the state. And Dante Drummer is going to be presenting that, making that presentation. So Dante?
Thanks, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor James, City Commission, our esteemed guest from the National League of Cities, Mayor Warren. I'm joking, I'm just
Now, you know I signed your paycheck, okay? I don't sign Clarence's.
I couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist. I'm Dante Drummer, the Grants Program Strategist, and I'm here to provide an update on how the city utilized the ARPA funds that we were awarded. So really quickly, I'll cover some results from our community engagement efforts and the allocation from the two tranches of funding. So to recap, of the nearly $46 billion that was allocated to metropolitan cities, we were awarded $24,530,823. So half of which was distributed in May 2021 and the other half in August 2022. And just a reminder, the key eligible use categories for the ARPA funding were public sector revenues, public health and economic response, premium pay for essential workers, and wastewater, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. And so West Palm is experiencing rapid growth right now. And in our efforts to embody Mayor James's vision to be a community of opportunity for all, the city developed a survey to determine the city's and the community's top 3 priorities for the ARPA funds out of 6 eligible categories. So those categories were allocate the remaining revenue loss in the form of vehicle replacement, for example, invest in public health initiatives, invest in economic response, provide premium pay for essential workers, water and sewer infrastructure, and broadband infrastructure. And so a brief interpretation of the survey results, it was live for 1 month, and we got 90 respondents and 16 open-ended comments, which the city then analyzed and allocated the funds accordingly. And so some of the respondents wanted to see with the funds the delivery of safe, high-quality water operations. And it's worth noting that our utilities department already had access to various funding to achieve this, so this wasn't the most strategic use of the funding, but they also wanted to see increased funds for partnerships that elevate equity in health, safety, and the well-being outcomes for all people, prioritized economic support for small and local and Black-owned businesses, much-needed Wi-Fi hotspots in low-income areas of the city, and the respondents also felt it important for the city to have high-quality employees and sufficient pay. And they also had multiple comments about additional paving and sidewalks and directing funds toward neglected infrastructure. And so over the course of 2 of the city's regularly scheduled work sessions, it was ultimately decided that the categories of eligible use that I listed, the city would focus the spending on replacing lost revenue, responding to the public health needs, namely the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic impacts, and providing much-needed premium pay for essential workers. So the city allocated $6,490,000 of the ARPA funds for reimbursement of the $7 million in lost revenue for the city incurred during the fiscal year 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And the funds were allocated toward critically citywide vehicle replacements totaling $10 million. And to date, 60 vehicles have been replaced, reducing repair and maintenance needs, and it allows for increased coverage by our first responders in the areas that need them most in the community. And the city also allocated $839,000 to distribute $500 vaccine incentives to the city employees meeting specified criteria. And as a result of that funding, 854 vaccines were distributed, totaling $427,000. And a portion of it was also used for grant administration. So the city allocated $425,000 for costs associated with staffing and consulting services needed to ensure proficient compliance and reporting of the ARPA funds, so we can make sure we were wise stewards of the funding. And of this allocation, $162,000 of it was utilized, and the remainder was carried forward. And as we all know, essential workers are the backbone of our nation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we experienced unprecedented crises, many of which would have been debilitating if it weren't for the tireless efforts of our essential workers. And so the city allocated, of the $4.5 million the city allocated for premium pay, 1,228 payments were distributed, totaling $4.3 million. And this came in the form of one-time lump sum non-pensionable payments to employees employed on or before October 1st, 2020. And they had to routinely work during the majority of the city pandemic emergency period, and that was between March 17th, 2020 and July 29th, 2021. And it had to be either at a city facility or out in the field. And regarding premium pay, it's important to note that West Palm Beach, we led the state, actually, and likely the nation in providing premium pay, and we were highly recognized for these efforts. And the funding for the vehicle replacements, it positioned us to implement the first ever vehicle replacement program here in alignment with best practices in the industry. And so the city is currently in the process of operationalizing the second tranche of funding, and we're engaged in several projects to utilize the remaining dollars, the vast majority of which have already been completed or are nearing completion. And so as we previously discussed, addressing revenue loss exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic remains a priority for additional vehicle replacement, and that's high on the list. So for example, replacing EMS emergency vehicles, some of which are more than 12 years old, and equipping them with new vehicles that provide new air filtration systems is vital. You know, it provides enhanced safety for paramedics and patients related to decontamination of various viruses. And so in a nutshell, it works by generating powerful oxidants that destroy bacteria and virus to eliminate odors without the use of chemicals, which is major. And so this meets a major need for the rapid development of effective countermeasures to address the ever-present threat of COVID-19 and other highly transmissible contaminants. And the city also allocated a remainder of it to address several community needs related to public health and economic response. And so, for example, Roosevelt Estates, Spruce Avenue, and Pinewood Avenues are communities that consist of many low to moderate income households experiencing negative economic impacts, such as unemployment, food, housing, and transportation access insecurity. And so one of the ways the city is addressing transportation access is providing pedestrian sidewalk repairs and widening the paths along prominent thoroughfares, which will enhance pedestrian safety while walking within the neighborhoods. And it also helps create safer paths to parks and local schools. And the ARPA funds provided much-needed infrastructure improvements that enhance the quality of life for residents in these historically underserved communities. And so one park, for example, is Gaines Park Community Center. It serves a disproportionately impacted area, and the programs offered here provide an opportunity for individuals and families to get outside and exercise for physical and mental health. And the aquatic center is great because it allows kids access to swimming and to learning how to swim, and it has much needed upgrades. So the renovation included resurfacing and an expanded splash pad and an updated pool pump room. And the renovations not only upgrade the profile of the park, but it also helps the city to comply with updated and new health regulations as well. And so the city's really working to improve access to parks, green spaces, recreational facilities, sidewalks, and pedestrian-safe open spaces, really designed to encourage and promote health and safety outcomes. And additional park renovations also include a commercial kitchen to provide healthy cooking and eating for youth and community members. And the tennis center renovations include restrooms, class and meeting rooms, and the renovation of 6 tennis courts, as well as adding 2 additional courts. So in a nutshell, the ARPA funds really provided much-needed infrastructure improvements that really enhance the quality of life for residents in historically underserved communities. And such a substantial infusion of resources as ARPA, it really helped to turn the tide and on the pandemic and really help us to address its economic fallout and laid the foundation for a strong and equitable recovery in the city of West Palm Beach. So thank you for your time, and if anyone has any questions,
Thank you
feel
for
free.
that presentation, Mr. Drummer. Any questions, commissioners, comments? All right, so Mr. Anthony, I hope you and your team have a better feel for how we as a city benefited from your tremendous efforts in making sure those monies came straight to us. And again, we thank you. Our citizens, our employees were benefited greatly from your lobbying efforts. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the final item on this agenda. And before we adjourn, I'll just ask commissioners, is there anything that you would like to say for the general good of the body? If not, we do have a reception with refreshments right across the hall in the Flagler Gallery. Everyone is invited, so please go right across the hall and enjoy yourself. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.